have a great story to share with you guys, and it's more to do with the highs, lows, struggles, great parts of small business, and I think it just makes you more relatable. And obviously people have different opinions. We've been around for almost 55 years. That it may be always good, and we're not looking for anybody to ever feel bad, but I want to share some stories about more the struggles and how you deal with them and how you get out of it. So really for the first 30 years of our business, the 70s, 80s, 90s, we had a resale store but did a lot of mass manufacturing for a company out of Toronto. We eventually lost that contract in the very early 2000s, right around 2001. Unfortunately, with that company going bankrupt, which meant, unfortunately, with payments that we lost a heck of a lot of money. And then going from 50 employees down to family. But really, where we're going here is the struggle part and how, we got out of this. So you went from the 50 employees back down to just family and a couple others, and in a period of only really a year or two, with having to make payments on things, and then of course this business that went bankrupt, not getting the hundreds of thousands of dollars that they owed us, going from what you felt comfortable to losing basically everything at that point. Especially my parents, their entire savings, and then Kyle and I getting involved and going, how do we move forward here? So obviously, unfortunately, credit cards, were maxed out and not even usable, so that was bad debt. But where we're going here still is the willingness and I guess the love for us of what we do, that you could have just quit and given up, but that's not us. We grew up in this business. Kyle and I always said we want to push through, and even with this insurmountable, some people would say, debt, we managed to slowly work through that in the early-ish to mid 2000s, and also to do with great family support. If you don't have a tight-knit family, this would be very hard to go through the time that we did then. Obviously through loans, different things, and some paid back that way. But really comes down to, and Kyle and I were speaking about this just at lunch today, that if you don't love what you do, it makes it really tough whether you're making a lot of money or no money to do it. And I think went through a period of 5 to 10 years where you weren't bringing in any income, but we realized we were still happier going to work than a lot of people who hate their jobs. And it was really about you guys at that point, the retail business, the happy people, the really nice people that we dealt with, that I would say got us through that struggle of paying back a lot of debt, unfortunately through that bankruptcy that other company left us in a bad spot as well. But really talk about is where, with these struggles, and I wouldn't be the person I am today, and Kyle wouldn't, without, we've seen the highest of highs in business, the rock bottom, lowest of lows. But we were both discussing today that if it weren't for those lowest of lows, and a lot of people I wouldn't recommend, you don't want to go there, we wouldn't be the people we are today without that. And I mean, it makes you so grateful for so much, and we're so lucky to have amazing family around us, and they all know who they are, and we obviously thank them. But we also thank you guys for obviously all the support, continued support through those years. And it also kind of goes back to when you have that great support system right around you, you're not out there complaining, going like, why me? Why did this happen? Easy thing to complain when there's struggle, but trying to push forward, and through those roughest times when maybe you're almost going to lose everything, to find those little bright lights that can continue to push you forward. And really the family, and then having a job that you like going to, and realizing whether or not you get paid or not, you still show up, you still love it, and continue forward on that path. So I think the really unique part that I want to share with this, through that tough time, really tough time back, through the early to mid 2000s, there was the fact, my dad, my mother, Kyle, and I all very involved in the business. And, the only way we really got through that was living in the same household. And a lot of people say, wow, that's crazy. How would you guys go to work, be at home together through massive struggle when you had huge debt to pay off, whether or not you could? How did you do it? And I mean, obviously our family's very close. That part was easy, to the day-to-day stuff. But it was really the passion for continuing to push forward, even not being paid. Hey, I love what I do coming to work, and able to kind of slowly grow out of that and pay back some of those debts that way. But it really just reinforced to me that you really got to love what you're going to do. And if you love it and you can do it even when you're not making money, and I understand that's not possible in all circumstances, but man, it makes for happier times, because those were definitely very, very tough times, but you learn so much of it. And like I said before, we wouldn't be who we are today from seeing the highest of highs and then the lowest of lows, and then trying to climb back up into the middle, kind of where we are now as a small business, really still just family. But I thought I'd share this story with you guys, and just so you kind of make yourself a little vulnerable, but also explain, you know what, yeah, you've been in business for 55 years. It hasn't all been amazing. There's so many ups and downs, but when you enjoy what you do the most, which is the key here, it's totally, the money thing, obviously you have to make money to get by, but when you enjoy it, there's just so much more that makes you grateful. And it's all of you guys, the great people we've dealt with, and both Kyle and I today discussing this randomly, obviously many years later, have exactly the same answer: that why did it make it easy to still come to work? And it was all the amazing people that we got to deal with in our retail store that way, that made our lives brighter. Hopefully we made your lives brighter that way. So that's kind of where we're at, and continue on hopefully to keep slowly building our business back up. But we're pretty content where it's at now. But just really wanted to share that story. And yeah, I'm sure there's many other small businesses who have been around as long as we have, who have seen highs and lows and rock bottoms and almost losing absolutely everything you have. That there's obviously still hope. When you love what you do, you stick with it, and you're going to get through those tough times. And you got to have a good family around you. Don't discard your family thinking, they're bad people. You want a tight-knit family. That's the only way you get through tough times in life, is with a great family. The message really coming out of this for everybody is those lows, those rock bottoms, learn as much as you can from those so you don't end up having them happen again. And if you do have them happen again, for hopefully not the same reasons, you're going to know how to get back out. That, okay, I'm going to be okay. You may be close to losing it all, but I'm going to get through this. And with the highs, it's not always going to be highs. And I think, unfortunately, with society nowadays, we see so much in social media with people of the highs. Like, is that always the way they live all the amazing things? No, it's not for most of society. Trying to figure out that middle ground and really enjoy. And I think the biggest thing, find work, whether you want to call it a job, a career, owning your own business, that you love to do, that you can go to even on days when you're not going to make money, or you may lose some money, because that enjoyment factor is so amazing. And we thank you guys for 55 years of enjoyment from you, and receiving and making friends, and the conversations pulled us through those tough times for sure. Because without you guys and the family, I can tell you, we wouldn't be here today. We would have disappeared a number of years ago that way. So be a good person, work hard, find something you like to do, and hopefully it's going to make your life better too.